everyone. This is Michelle Burney from Radiance Within Coaching, and I'm back again for another talk slash podcast, video, whatever you want to call this. And today's topic, today's message, I should say, is to be creative. And you may be curious as to what this has to do with health, wellness, health coaching, life coaching, especially coming from a science teacher, because I am, as my husband will say, extremely literal, extremely left brained. He called me Bones from the TV show Bones. But, anyways, I'll explain what I mean by be creative. So, I was taking a class, it's called Clarity Catalyst, and it was kind of an extension of my coaching certification. It was like a master class. And on the very first day of the class, the topic was the creative process. And at first, I really, I wasn't sure what to expect with this course. And I thought, the creative process, I'm wondering, okay, is this about designing a web page? Is this about, creating podcasts? Is this about, creating Facebook posts? Is this about designing a logo? Like, what part of the creative process, or what are we using the creative process for? And it went through the whole a process of where there's frustration and incubation, and you sit on it for a while, and then you strategize, and then you bring it to life, illumination, and then the process continues. And at first, I wasn't sure where that was going, like I said, but the whole purpose of the creative process was in discovering your authentic self and expressing your authentic self. So, not necessarily creating a website, creating a logo, creating something that I would consider creative, but really focusing on you. Being creative is the ability to create, and you have the ability to create your life. And that's what it was all about, kind of to lead off this course. And I have seen it come up in other things that I've read. Um, this idea that you are the artist of your life. And I want you to kind of just think about that and reframe maybe your thinking of your life, your world. We often think that all of this is happening to us, that, all these circumstances, life, work, job, the kids, all of that's happening to us. But I think if you reframe that and think that you are the creator of this life, you are the one who is the artist behind what you leave behind, your legacy, what this looks like. I think it's very powerful, and it's even empowering to think that you do have this power, that you are a creator, that you can be creative, and maybe not in the sense of artistic. But I want you to think about taking an artistic approach to your life. And here I am, the science teacher again, not trying to preach about art and things, but if you think about your life as a painting, what colors do you want it to express? What theme, what colors? How do you want that to show? If you think about writing a book, think about where is your next chapter going? If you want to think about a sculpture, sculpting, do you have to take off and chisel away some parts to really uncover what's beneath you? So think about this idea that you are creative and that you are the creator of your life. And like I said, I know it's hard to overcome all these ideas that it's happening to me. But I want you to keep this in mind. We get to this point in our life where, we have the job, we have the house, we have the spouse, we have the kids, and you think that, okay, that's it. I'm going to just kind of ride on cruise control. And, my next chapter of my book may be retirement. But I challenge you to think that, moving on to retirement, say for me, that's not my next chapter. That is definitely not my next chapter. You don't want that to be your next chapter. There's too much time in between. So the idea is to keep creating. Don't let others, your circumstances, don't let others control your paintbrush. So that really involves tapping into you and thinking of yourself creatively. What would you like to do? What would you like your painting to look like? What would you like your movie? What would you like the next scene of your movie to be? Because you have so much written so far, but you can add to it. You can add to your painting. You can add to your movie. You can add to this novel of your life. And, no matter what your age is, you have that power. I believe up until the very end that you can still add color to your painting. You can add chapters to your book. I will say, I mentioned my boys in my last video and doing hard things. And I will say that I'm really proud of our daughter, Olivia, who's really bravely creating her world, like really bravely. She's taken a job out west in Arizona. She is ready to finish up her master's here in New York and then really leave everything behind, sell everything, and just head out to Arizona to create this next stage of her world. And I think our three oldest, the youngest is still here with us. I think the three oldest have taken some creative liberties in their life that I wasn't brave enough to do. And I think sometimes, we are limited by what we feel as expectations. Last week I talked about, the voice in your head. And that comes from somewhere. We're led to have certain expectations, to have, these certain domestications, attachments, um, but I'm really proud of my kids. I think maybe because my husband and I, we really value growth. We value experience. We value travel. We value expansion a lot. And maybe that is trickling down to our kids. So, parents, like, really think about what role are you playing in your child's artwork, in your child's sculpture, in your child's book, their novel, their painting, however you want to think of this creative thing we call life. Um, and really think about not limiting their color scheme, not limiting the size of their canvas. Because I think a lot of us probably feel like we had those limitations, and it's hard where we are now to even think creatively, to think big, to think beyond our world that we've established for ourselves. Um, Nick, my son, 1,400 SATs, dropped out of college, went into the Navy. And I, as a parent, could have reacted like, no, you're going to college. You're a college kid. You are enrolling in college. You can come home. You're going to go to college. But as a parent, I left him to explore what he wanted to do. And for me, we really said, you have to move forward. There is no staying still. There is no, I'm just going to stay here and, figure things out for a while. It was, what are you going to do to move forward? But we tried to give him, like I said, that creative liberty to hear our options. I'm not going to just limit you to say you have to go to college. There are other options out there, even though you're very academic. And he's loving the military. He's even looking at options of pursuing that college degree through the military and having costs covered and things like that. So really think about, the effect you have on your children if you have kids, but think about you and what you could do to enhance your creativity, this next chapter, this addition to your artwork, to your painting. Is there something you've been holding back on? Do you want to try taking a certain class? Is there a hobby you'd like to get back doing? What would help you feel creative? Because when you are creative, you are empowered. When you feel like you're in that creative zone, you feel like you have control of your world. Something that I read talked about abundance comes from that creative flow. That abundance, feeling like you have abundance in your world, isn't about the money. Although you can do creative type things or you can get into your flow, things that are passionately you that do bring in money. But it's not about that. People who feel abundance feel this creative flow. And I encourage you to think about how could you get into this creative side? And like I said, this can happen at any age. And I truly believe that you have the ability to create your life at any age, whether it's 70, whether it's 30, whether it's 45, and your kids are getting older, whatever it may be. I know I've mentioned my mom before, and at the end, I know she had a lot of frustration with her Alzheimer's, and she would express that frustration and not remembering words and not being able to communicate as well as she'd like to, frustration just forgetting things, frustration and losing the ability to do things for herself. But what I see she added to her palette, to her portrait, to her painting was so much warmth and softness and lightness and fun. Like she truly added that on at the end, even though she was struggling with an awful, awful disease. I do see, and my children definitely noticed a difference in that she did add to her story, to her creation, despite struggling. Like I said, there was definitely a warmth and a softness, and we were very grateful for that because it doesn't always happen with, Alzheimer's disease. She was so loving, she was so fun, she was so sweet. She tried different things that she never would have tried before because, some voice in her head would have stopped her. No, 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 I can't do that. And she did those things. So I do really believe up until the very end, you're not too old to add to your creative story. So you might be thinking, well, how can I tap into this? I don't feel creative. I don't feel like I have any creativity. I don't have any power over creating in my world. And the first step is really to become more self-aware. Who are you? And that relates to mindfulness. And it's having that ability to stop and to be in the present and to really feel who you are. What kind of emotions do you have? Who are you behind all of those distractions, all of those voices, the voice in your head, all of those thoughts? Just trying to settle those down to feel who you really are. And mindfulness, kind of being present. When you're present, like, where are your emotions? Journaling can help with this. Journaling can help with some self-awareness. Like if you were to journal, just free write, free type, whatever. What are you feeling? Where are you at? What are you frustrated with? What do you love? What do you enjoy? Um, I'd given some suggestions in a class I was teaching about journaling. Like, journal, what are you 5 places you'd love to visit? What are 10 things you'd love to do in the next 10 years? Just kind of pushing yourself to see who are you? Because I think sometimes and I mentioned this before, we as women really lose sight of ourselves. We are giving to others, we're taking care of our kids, our families, our parents, our spouses, our households, our jobs, etc. And we lose touch of who we are. And that person who we are does change. The person who you are now isn't necessarily the person you were when you came out of college, wasn't the person you were when you first had children. Wherever you are, that changes. And sometimes you have to stop, quiet your mind, and really figure out, who are you? What do you want? What do you want in this next chapter? What do you want to add to your painting that we call life? Meditation can help provide some clarity. And meditation, I know it's a hard thing to do, and I'm trying to get more into a steady practice. But really, what meditation is, and it's not about losing all thoughts, because you will have thoughts, and you have to allow yourself. Thoughts will come into your mind, but it's what comes into those spaces between thoughts. Is allowing those empty spaces to allow the real you that's deep within to come on through. Having faith is really important. And to me, like, faith is beliefs, and I might save faith for another talk sometime. But have faith in trusting yourself. Trust not knowing what the outcome may be, but that you're starting to live truer to yourself. um, have faith in trusting new perspectives and trying, like I said, trying new things. Have faith that, this is worthwhile. Have faith that things will work out. Take a chance. And if it doesn't work out, live and learn and adjust and go from there. It's part of the creative process. But I think the big message that you are the creator of your life. Be creative. You are the artist of your world, of your life, and create your masterpiece. Like I said, don't let others control your paintbrush. Like, really try to take control of your world and how do you want to display your life. Like, if it's a painting, if you want to think of this as a painting, you choose your colors, you choose your shapes, you choose your canvas. If you're thinking of a movie, think about, what would your next scene be? Your next scene you don't have to wait till retirement. You don't have to wait till, the end of the line. Like, you need some scenes in between. If you're writing a book, what is your next chapter? What would you want your next chapter to be? If you're a sculptor, what would you create? What might you chisel away? What do you need to let go of to uncover some master sculpture? So I challenge you to be creative, like I said, in terms of creating your world, creating your life, and try to tap into that creativity. And I will say, um, it's in those quiet times where you start to have ideas. And I have a notebook where I do, especially for these podcasts and things, because this is part of my, some of my creation and creativity. I take notes, and I have this notebook. I bought it on spring break. It's a fun one. But I had another one. I kept it by my bed, my nightstand. Um, but really, those quiet times, and I have a lot of quiet time now with the kids kind of grown. And anyways, it takes those quiet times to really think, what are the possibilities for you? What do you want to do with your life? Because, like I've said before, like, our time here on earth is limited. You want to make the best of it. You can't just wait and say, I'll do that later. I'll do that when I don't have to work anymore. I'll do that once I retire, because we're not guaranteed those years. We're not guaranteed that time. So, what will you do to be more of a creator of your life? This is Michelle Burney. I hope that this will help you uncover more of that radiance within. That's my motto here. If you like this, please share it with others. Please follow my coaching Facebook page, the Radiance Within Coaching, because I'm going to stop sharing these to my regular Facebook page. I also have an Instagram if you'd like to see this through Instagram. And if you're ever interested in more one-on-one, just talking one-on-one about some goals and how to move forward and how to get unstuck, I think that's a big thing. How to get unstuck, please reach out, call, message, Facebook message, whatever it takes. But I would love to help you, encourage your creativity, get yourself unstuck, even your health goals, and just feeling better. So thank you for listening. Until next week, I hope this helps you uncover your radiance within.